Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and today we're going to be talking about Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece from 1985, Ran, which received four nominations at the 58th Academy Awards. Got one win for Best Costume Design. The other nominations were Best Director for Mr. Kurosawa, Best Cinematography, and Best Art Direction. All rightfully so. This is a breathtaking film here. What I'm curious about is where's the best foreign language film love? What's going on there?
Yeah, that is weird. Kurosawa did not get nominated for that often, despite the output and the respect that he commanded in the film industry. It is strange that Ran would be up for director, but not best foreign film.
Yeah, it's his only best director nomination after a let's just go ahead and get into it. Ran is 1985. I mean, the dude had been for 40, 50 years already crushing it and kind of redefining what it meant to be, an auteur, to be a writer, director, someone who can do both, adapt, make their own stuff, direct the shit out of movies, whether they're, small scale or the grandest scale like Ran. He had already given enough, but he had to go out with one last bang here. He died in the late 90s, so this is one of the last movies he does. I think he only does two or three afterwards, and I mean, this is just as good as it can get for a guy like him. And that best director nomination, I'm glad it did happen, but he deserved other ones prior. Just took the Academy forever to get there. So yeah, it is very interesting. Rashomon, 1950 is a movie that won like an honorary award, right, for best foreign language film. What, you're going to give it four nominations to Rand, but you're not going to give best foreign language film? It's just so odd. I'll never understand the Academy. It's just it's not for us to understand. It's just for us to fucking talk about. So I love this movie. I can't wait to talk about it later. It I wrote on my letterbox review that it redefined the word epic for me. I was just like, holy shit, there's a lot going on the screen. It is so beautiful, so mesmerizing. At times I forgot I needed to read subtitles. It was that kind of beautiful filmmaking, all across the board. Score, cinematography, costume design, all that stuff is just off the charts. So I'm super excited that we chose this movie for this episode. It's technically our first 2023 proper episode because last week we did a draft and we didn't really give awards out to an individual movie. So it feels cool to kind of start the year off with a not a random movie, but a little bit off the beaten path for what we're used to. We don't do a ton of foreign films, but we've knocked out a few, including Kurosawa, episode 25 on this show, or 24, 20, somewhere in there. Well, we did Rashomon, and we were both, that was kind of our first time going to Kurosawa and really checking out his stuff. So kind of feels like we've come full circle.
Yeah, anytime we tackle foreign cinema, it always feels rewarding. It always feels like we're, stepping out of our comfort zone and experiencing new cultures and new ways of making film. And especially, Kurosawa emerged as, the definitive post-war Japanese director, which I love seeing, Japan's culture and filmmaking after the events of World War II is always just fascinating to see. Like, we talked about that when we did Bicycle Thieves. They did the desolation of a war torn country and how it's reflected through their art. And Kurosawa kind of took that and turned it into Japanese, samurai films, which is really neat. And his shit holds up. It really does.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So yeah, I back in the day when we did Rashomon, I was a little nervous. I was like, can we do this? And now I'm like, fuck yeah, we can do this.
Oh yeah, and I think through the episode we were both kind of like, where exactly do we go with this stuff? We both liked the movie a lot. We were both impacted and felt some kind of emotion towards it, but it was hard to articulate exactly what we thought because it was our first time going down the foreign path. So it was ambitious as hell, and here we are. We've done Woman in the Dunes, Bicycle Thieves. We did Parasite. We really want to try to do more of these movies just because it is the most rewarding stuff as a cinephile to stretch your wings and try to fly a little bit, or run in this case. Oh man, before I hear what you went through this week as far as Kurosawa goes, I do want to hear. I think you saw a new release today. We're recording this on Saturday night. Uh, so far, 2023, we both watched a handful of stuff on our own, but you went to the theater for the first time in 2023. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I had gift cards, and I wasn't intending to see this, but reviews were surprisingly, like, overwhelmingly positive. And Caleb pretty much convinced me. He's like, you got to see this. And so I'm like, all right, why not? So I went and saw Megan, the new horror sci-fi killer robot doll movie. There's one every few years.
Yeah.
And this thing's sporting a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently, it's the first ever certified fresh January horror release.
That's good. Good to hear.
Which is pretty crazy. That might not be entirely accurate. I think it's like the first week release. I don't know. It had some milestone in that department, but it's pretty much Terminator meets Child's Play. Pretty predictable, but the person who plays the doll was one actress was the physical doll and one actress was the voice, and in tandem they were both fantastic. Towards the end, it gets going. It was good. 3.5 stars, kind of probably a 7. But decent. Good way to start out the year. Nothing too incredible, but good.
Good to hear. This has got a real interesting trailer. I think it's intending to get you intrigued, but also kind of make you laugh. It has that element to it of a horror movie where you're just kind of like, this is so wild that I'm kind of having just a good time. And I do like that every now and again. So I am intrigued. I probably won't go see it in theaters, but I will probably check it out when it comes to some kind of service later on. But yeah, January and February usually, kind of dumpuary type months where just stuff comes out. Typically, bad horror movies come out around this time. So it is nice to hear, that maybe that's changed a little bit at least this year.
Yeah, a bit. It actually reminded me a lot of the Child's Play remake from 2019.
Okay.
It had a very, very similar story, very similar trajectory, but this was loads better. Like, this is what that should have been.
Okay. I like that. I like to hear that. What else? What else have you been getting into? I know, you've been kind of doing the Kurosawa thing, but what else have you watched?
Well, in the midst of putting all of my FILMGAZM reviews onto Letterboxd has been my priority for the past week, which has been interesting.
Which is about it's a little over 2,000 reviews. So
one at a time by hand, took 3 days.
Copy, paste.
Yeah.
Or well, hold on. Select all. Copy, paste.
Yeah. Then I also had to choose. I had to pick the date because Letterboxd lets you pick the date of the review, and all my reviews are dated. So I was able to make like a retroactive diary, which was good. That felt good. I didn't want them all to just be, this week. That would have made me look crazy.
Connor's watched how many movies in January?
Yeah, 2,000 already. I'm doing great. My numbers are great. But yeah. So other than that, I've been trying to watch some stuff. I rewatched Batman: Assault on Arkham, which was cool. That's a DC animated film that takes place between, the Batman Arkham game continuity between Origins and Asylum, where the Suicide Squad has to get into Arkham to steal intel from the Riddler because Waller was careless. And it's pretty good. Pretty good. It's a good Suicide Squad movie. One of Kevin Conroy's Batman performances too. So that was
rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, I believe I also watched the documentary 13th on Netflix, which was infuriating.
Yeah, Ava DuVernay, sorry, at her finest there. Yeah.
Yeah, just, a brutally honest tale of Black oppression in the United States and, connecting it to the prison system and how disgustingly, financially driven that whole industry has become. And I never thought about the 13th Amendment having a loophole and how, a lot of the suppression has been to take the vote away from minorities, which is unreal. I was just, fuming the whole time. It's a great watch. I recommend everyone check it out just so you can learn something about the way our country really operates.
Yeah, it definitely it caught my attention when it came out. I believe in 2016, I want to say is when it came out. So it ties in with who our president was at the time. There's like some really jaw dropping moments. Really good filmmaking from Ava, where there's audio of our president at the time, along with what's happening years and years ago, and how it matches up, how like history just repeats itself, and it was very frightening, and had a bit of a, oh well, I'm not black. If I watch this, at least I know what's going on. I think a lot of people looked at it that way. I feel like at first when I watched it, I was like, I'm smarter now. It's fine. But when you try to actually have sympathy, or actually try to just take it for what it is and what Ava was going for, yeah, it is quite powerful, and is probably stuff that should be taught, in schools. Just how far the rabbit hole goes. This documentary, I think, goes a little bit beneath the surface, and then there's just more and more. If you get on the internet and you start reading about, the way these huge conglomerates align with the prison system, it is just so dark and so scary. And here we are, just kind of lollygagging our way through life, not knowing, that the powers that be are quite scary.
What really freaked me out the most is, this unfortunate truth that like racism and oppression is so ingrained with our country's DNA that it's almost impossible to take it out without pretty much destroying our entire infrastructure, which is so
Yeah.
fucked up. Like there's no way back. And what do you say to that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I knew you'd respond to it for sure. It's just a damn good doc. It was up for the Oscar, and it lost to, I don't remember what was the 2016 winner. I remember thinking this should fucking win. This is it's on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for 6 years, going on 7 years now. Definitely a must see type of documentary. So good stuff, man. I'm glad you checked that one out. I Speaking of Netflix, I watched Noah Baumbach's new film because it came out, I want to say, right at the tail end of 2022, like December 29th or something like that. And I just didn't have time. We did that draft episode. I wanted to watch it before then, but I just couldn't make it happen. So I watched it, I don't know, earlier this week on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. Very weird, very strange, and it's completely different than anything Baumbach has done, which is why I was intrigued the entire movie. It's a little over 2 hours. Probably could have cut some stuff just to make it a little more streamlined, but it's getting quite mixed reviews. Most of his recent works, like Marriage Story and Meyerowitz Stories and Francis Ha, like those movies are pretty much hand over fist. People just love them, and they get really good scores. They do really well. He's become kind of an auteur in his own right, and I think White Noise is definitely dividing people. It's definitely splitting people right down the middle. It's either for you or just not at all. And I totally understand if it's not. I read the book when I was probably 17 or 18, right? And the movie's trying to stick too close to the text. Uh, that's definitely a thing that's going around. People are like, okay, like the book, you can't literally put word to screen. Like it's just not going to translate the right way, especially to people who don't know the book. And credit to him for sticking true to something that he loves. A novel that he likes a lot. But dude, like it's you got to adaptations there. It's a word for a reason. You do have to make changes. That's part of the deal. It's one thing that Kurosawa is a master at, is making it their own, and I feel like Bomback was just like, I have to, this book that I've been with since I was a child, I have to, hold true to it. I get that, but it could have been even better. I still liked it. Adam Driver is one of those guys that I could watch him stare at a wall. He's just, to me, one of the five guys who's in their prime right now where I'll just watch him do anything. So I did enjoy it, and I do respect Bomback for trying. After that, I watched Strange World, the Disney flick from last year that just completely bombed, like made no money. The marketing was really odd for it. It seemed like it wasn't, I remember seeing, certain ads for it, and I was like, what is this? What exactly is this movie? And I finally watched it with my daughter, and I liked it. Thought it was pretty good. First off, it looked fucking awesome. Has a little bit of that fucking Avatar thing where you go to a certain place and you're just kind of like, oh, look at all the colors, look how beautiful it is, which worked on my daughter. And then mainly for me, what worked was the voice cast. Fucking Jake Gyllenhaal, Dennis Quaid, Gabrielle Union, Lucy Liu. I thought everybody just knocked it completely out of the park, especially Jake Gyllenhaal. That guy, I don't think he's ever done voice acting before in a Disney movie. I was looking at his letterboxd. I was like, is this the first time he's been in an animated movie? That's crazy because he was so good at it. I loved his character. I loved the relationship between him and his dad, played by Dennis Quaid. They were just like a cool little duo. So I had fun with it, man. That one in Lightyear just got completely bombarded by people. Like, this is shit. And it was like, I actually think it's pretty good. I think they're both pretty good. And we're going to look back, I think, and be like, 2022, not so bad from Pixar and Disney. If you combine the two, powers that be. Turning Red, awesome. Lightyear, thought it was pretty good. And Strange World, pretty good. So, I had no problem with that. Those movies that seemed kind of mixed. Before we get to Kurosawa, I do have to talk about this movie. I was texting you about it. You've got to see it. Strange Days, 1995, written by Big Jim Cameron, baby, and his former wife, Catherine Bigelow. They were married from 1989 to 1991. Very briefly, it was did not go well. That's what we call failed marriage. And this movie comes out in 95. They combine their powers. The movie nearly derailed Catherine Bigelow's directing career because it made no money. People were very, very, divided on it. But as years have passed, people have reclaimed it, which is one of my favorite things about movies is you just don't know what's going to happen, 10, 20 years down the road. And now people are like, this is Bigelow's best stuff, So I finally watched it, and I agree. It is my favorite Bigelow movie. It is so fucking bonkers, yet grounded enough to be believable. It's comes out in 1995. The story is based in 1999 at the turn of the century. It's like the last couple days of 1999 before 2000, and just it's in Los Angeles, and this is a very nasty. This is like 70s New York City, but Los Angeles in the late 90s. It's very, very interesting. They really turn up the volume on the kind of the LA riots from 1992 and kind of put them in here. And you got Ray Fiennes and Angela Bassett, both fucking exquisite in this movie. Like, such a cool duo. You never would have thought that those two would be in a movie in LA, fucking doing crazy stuff and beating people up and kind of teaming up together to take down this like conspiracy. It's so cool, man. I just thought that movie kicked ass. I've been wanting to see it for a long time, and I finally just was like, screw it. It's on HBO Max right now. Highly recommend it. Connor, I think you're gonna love that movie when you see it.
Yeah, I remember you being very excited about this one. Yeah, we might make that a Filmgasm towards the end of the year.
Yeah. That's there was one time you were like, hey, pick a movie, and I was like, well, it's time to talk about Thief. I feel like at the end of the year, it's going to be like, all right, I'm ready to rewatch Strange Days and come on and talk about it. It had that effect on me where I was like, this is one of those that I could see falling completely in love with.
That's beautiful. I love those movies. Before I forget, 13th lost best documentary to OJ Made in America. I just wanted to throw that out.
Oh well, yeah. That one that's a cheat. That's not right because OJ Made in America is like 5 parts. It's like 8 hours. You can't compete with a movie that's a movie which is basically a docu-series that breaks down racism completely and talks about it through the scope of one of the most infamous, murders in the history of the world,
Yeah.
OJ Simpson. There's just no way to compare that to like an hour and a half doc that is really focused on the prison system and on the 13th Amendment. It's how can you compare the two? I remember being kind of mad. I love OJ Made in America. I think it's a must see for anybody. But come on, like it's hard to compare something that long to something like 13th, which is a proper doc.
Yeah, it's like, it's like what was it, 2013? It's like 12 Years a Slave losing Best Picture to the last season of Breaking Bad. Like,
yeah,
that would happen. It's way better, but should it be there? I don't think so.
It's way better.
White Noise. I knew from the second I saw the trailer, I'm like, this isn't for me. This is when I'm gonna be annoyed by this.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a bomb back. I guess when we do Marriage Story, which I'm surprised we haven't yet. I'll probably just go ahead and knock out the bomb backs I haven't seen yet, and we'll go ahead and I'll throw on White Noise.
Yeah. If anything, you're watching Adam Driver in his prime do his thing, even if you don't like the movie,
Yeah. And then Strange World. Yeah, that and Lightyear both tanked, I think, partly because they were both boasting prominent gay characters. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like in Strange World, it's like nothing. Like it's never even addressed. It's just my son's gay. Jake Gyllenhaal plays the dad. Immediately is like, oh, that's your crush. Hey, I'm his dad. How's it going? And then like they walk away, and you're like, that's literally how like a parent should handle it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is married to a character played by Gabrielle Union, who's black. So it's an interracial marriage, and their son's gay. And it's like, oh, of course, this movie didn't do well.
Yeah. Fucking, Christian conservatives don't want anybody but, white people, married white straight people in their fucking animated movies. And it's causing them to fail, which is pretty fucking crazy in this day and age. But I've heard, I honestly have not heard much about Strange World apart from you. So maybe I want to knock off all of Disney's movies. I'll check that out at some point.
What I would compare it to, as far as like the Disney Pixar, I would compare it to Onward. Just like fuck yeah, that felt good. That felt
loved Onward.
Good. Yeah. I think you'll really like some aspects of Strange World. It has a really cool fantasy kind of element to it. Yeah, I don't know, just kicked ass. So, and yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. Who doesn't love Jake Gyllenhaal? All right, let's talk about what you've done with Kurosawa here. Neither of us are experts on Kurosawa. We've both seen a handful of his movies. I've probably only seen a couple more, just because the Criterion thing. Like I've seen some of his older ones, like Drunken Angel. Drunken Angel is one of my favorites. I fucking love that movie. But as far as his classics go, we've both seen Rashomon. What else did we watch? We watched Hidden Fortress, Seven Samurai. We both watched all three of those for the episode we did on Rashomon, and we were both like, okay, this guy, I get it. He's pretty good. And this week, you went for Ikiru,
yep,
Yojimbo, and Ran.
Yes.
And I had already seen Ikiru, so I watched Yojimbo and Ran. So let's start with Ikiru. What'd you think? Fucking amazing movie, right?
It's my new favorite. Like this was. Yeah. I love, the epicness of Ran and the self-contained adventure of Yojimbo, but something about just a man learning he's going to die and deciding to use his time to do something that matters, that really spoke to me. And I enjoyed every second of Ikiru. I thought it was great. I thought it was emotional. I thought it was powerful, very well acted, very well written. The cinematography was beautiful. It was engaging. And for a 2.5 hour Japanese movie, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not, 1952 black and white Japanese movie. That's that is 2.5 hours, and it's not an action movie. It's not a samurai movie. It is drama, like through and through. And I'm with you. It reminded me of a bunch of movies that I like now, like modern movies. I could feel the influence of a lot of things that I really like. I watched this, I don't know, a couple months ago, just on a whim, because I occasionally I'm like, let's add one more Kurosawa. Let's like just slowly add Kurosawa to the. So I do love the guy. I've never been disappointed, if that makes sense. Of course, I have my favorites, which are Rashomon and Akira. Those are my two top fucking Kurosawa, but I've liked all of them. You know,
Yeah.
Ironically, the one that I like the least and that I definitely need to rewatch at some point when I have 4 hours to spare is Seven Samurai.
Same.
Uh, I feel like something's wrong with me and you maybe, I don't know, because everybody fucking loves that movie. I just didn't feel quite as impacted. So one day I will rewatch it when I do have a lot of time to spare. But Ikiru is just right up our alley, man. It's just like really, really good screenplay, like quality acting. A lot of people talk about Toshiro Mifune, like the combination of Kurosawa and him, but Takashi Shimura is just as effective in a lot of his movies as well. Sometimes he doesn't play as big of a role, but he always brings the heat in his movies. I love Takashi. He's so good. He makes me laugh even through his pain in Akiru. I felt so relatable and just honestly like a must see. It felt like when I finished it, I was like, I needed that. Whether whether it was the exact right time in my life to watch it, I just at some point I needed that movie in my arsenal. I needed it.
I agree. That scene where he's waiting for news in the hospital and that one guy walks up to him and he's like, hey, if they tell you it's like it's a minor ulcer, that's not really what it is. Like, they're really lying to you. And he gets all insecure and then they're like, it's just an ulcer. And he's like, oh, I'm dying.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, shit.
That felt like a Cohen's thing,
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the reasons I went ahead and watched it was I probably mentioned this back when I saw it. Was it on Criterion? They do these adventures in movie going, like little sections, and so they'll have actors and directors and writers pick 4 or 5 movies from the collection, and they'll talk about them for 3 or 4 minutes, and nearly every time I'm like, yeah, I need to watch this because the way they talk about it. And for Akira, it was Bill Hader, and
Yeah. I remember you
and
telling me about that. Yeah.
yeah, and Bill Hader went on and on about just how devastating but funny the movie is at the same time. And he said, Bill Hader was like, "It's everything I want in a movie." And he said at the end, he was like, "It's undoubtedly my favorite Kurosawa." He's like, "It's kind of one that I go back to over and over just to remind myself of how powerful filmmaking can be from past decades." So I felt compelled by that, So I went ahead and watched it, and I was like, Bill Hader, who would have thought? This SNL standout, like goofy ass motherfucker, is one of the cinephiles in Hollywood right now. He's one of the guys who knows his shit. Uh, you watch his TV show Barry, and you're like, oh my god, he's like referencing movies left and right in that TV show. It's like he wanted to make a TV show to reference movies. It's really cool. I had no idea when I was watching him, play Stefan, the guy in Weekend Update. I had no idea what I was actually seeing. You know what I mean? Really cool when that comes back around. You get older and you realize this guy that I was just laughing at, he's become a movie mind that I respect.
For sure. I'm glad we still have some cinephiles in Hollywood. Feels like we're losing them.
Yeah.
One thing I loved about Ikiru that I then realized, like retroactively, is peppered throughout the Kurosawa films I've seen. He is a master at displaying people at their most vulnerable states and
Yeah.
just going for it, just showing like people hurt and it's okay. And like
Yes.
you see that in Rand too, a man
dude.
losing his entire family because of a poor decision he made and living with it the whole film, just living with the fact that like I turned my sons against each other and I wish I hadn't done that. Like his films really just dig into humanity, and I really respect that, and I like that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what, if it's a period film, if it's, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He can't help himself but be just honest. Just be
Yeah.
an honest writer. Truly one of the best adapters. Someone who's like, I can take Shakespeare and I will make it a little Kurosawa. Like I will throw myself into that. It's the best. It's kind of cliche to say, but like this guy is Kurosawa is like one of the most talented guys that we've ever had, as far as filmmaking goes. And there's a reason that his work has just stood the test of time. And here's two guys in their mid to late 20s that are just like, oh my god, I'm finally really understanding how much this guy means.
Yeah, we're late 20s now.
Yeah, I said mid. We're both almost 28. Jesus, closer to 30 than 20 is a tough thing to swallow.
Yeah, yeah, but you know what? Kurosawa helped. He's helping.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So yeah, Akira is the one to beat for me. That was just an experience. Just like moments where he's finally coming clean with the young girl and saying like, I'm dying and I've done nothing. Like I have nothing to show for it. My life is meaningless. I need to do something. And it's just like, shit, how do you not relate to that? How do you not think like, what have I done thus far? Like everyone has those thoughts, but to see them in a Japanese movie from 1952 really shows that like, we globally, we're all not that different. We've all had these thoughts. And I love moments like that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. This is one I'm gonna buy. I need to own this one. I need it on my shelf, and I need to talk to more people about it. I want to get more people to watch this movie. It's one of those. I think we felt a little differently about that one compared to Yojimbo. You would think we'd both be kind of just taken aback by Yojimbo, just by the sheer power that this movie has culturally. But I liked it. I liked it. I'll start with that. Thought it was good. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. But I was expecting to be like, oh, this is my favorite Kurosawa. Just what I've heard about it. I bought it. I just bought it out of nowhere. And the Criterion edition, and I was a little let down. I got to be honest, just a little. Not like, oh god, that sucked. I did not think it sucked or anything. But I don't know. I think I need to see it again. It's a little under 2 hours. Features a incredible performance by Toshiro. He is lights out in this movie. But there's something about the tone of it that both of us, when we were texting, we were like, what exactly was the goal here? Because you see that it's an action drama thriller type movie, but to me it's got some comedy. It's got that hidden fortress comedic element to it, but it's a little out of place.
Yeah, it feels like slapstick at times. I honestly found myself nodding off, like getting distracted. Like I had a hard time really getting into this movie. Ultimately, yeah, I was very let down. I gave this, I on the FILMGAZM scale, this is a 6 for me.
Oof. Okay, so you didn't really like it.
I didn't really. I was like, as soon as the weird, like, Planet of the Apes music started playing, and I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? And yeah, I think, and I never thought I'd say this, but the remake was better.
Fistful of Dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, the unofficial remake that Kurosawa sued Leone for and won. Leone did it better. A Fistful of Dollars is a much more compact, easier to follow, engaging film with a consistent tone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with you here. I think Fistful of Dollars is certified classic. Fantastic movie.
It was remade again in the 80s with Bruce Willis, a movie called Last Man Standing by Walter Hill. I've always wanted to see that.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's like now it's like LA Street Gangs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore the simplicity of, here comes this guy, fucking drifter, badass, whether he's a gunslinger or a Ronin, just a dude coming in hot. And there's two gangs who are arguing all this shit, and his goal is to be like, fuck both of you, I just want the people who live here to have a normal life. I do like that. Fundamentally, I like that story. What saves Yojimbo is Toshiro. Like, good God, that guy is one of the most powerful actors I've ever watched.
Yeah.
He just blows me away every time. His stature, his gravitas, like everything about him. He doesn't seem like a actor's actor, like well, he's just brings his own energy. Reminds me a lot of Anthony Quinn. Just I'm gonna do my fucking thing, and everybody else get the fuck out the way. I'm the man. I'm the guy who's like this big burly motherfucker, and I can kind of just barrel over all of you. And there's just not a lot of masculine people like that anymore. They're just kind of have a dominance about them, but also a skill, a skill level that is there. Also reminds me of kind of like 1970s Gene Hackman, just kind of like fuck off. I'm a shithead and I know it, and it's cool. It's fine. So Toshiro just has something that I've always been obsessed with in movies, which is probably a little bit of toxic masculinity, but I don't know. I like that. I like that vulnerability.
It's almost like, they're using their powers for good, almost like in that time. It's like, yeah, they were shit human beings, but what they brought that onto the screen and used it and turned it into performance in a way that we just don't have anymore. I agree with that's kind of gone out, and it's a good thing that's been kind of weeded out of culture for the most part.
Yeah.
But back then it adds to a certain just silent rage, almost like they could pop at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think another guy we both respect a lot is, like 1950s Burt Lancaster, who just had that oozing out of him, just at any given moment, like he might just punch the wall like straight through. And like I would believe it, I'd be like, yeah, that guy can do that. Toshiro also has that. So that's kind of what saves Yojimbo to still be like pretty good to me. And I fucking loved the ending. I thought the ending was so sick. There's some scenes I'd call them lulls. I call them, there's some lulls in this one.
I do like when he's just, the end when he's just like slice. All right, there you go. And
yeah.
he just leaves.
Peace. Yeah. See you later. Yeah. And towards the beginning when he slices that guy's arm off like completely is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think, give it a few years. I think, I'll revisit it. I think this feels like a second or third watch waiting to happen. I think we'll get on board with this at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one thing about him is Kurosawa is not someone you just like anybody can watch. And I'm not trying to be like put you and I on a pedestal or anything, but we're trying to get there where that's the place we want to go as of course, like why else would we fucking do it? It's like when you just keep training yourself to watch movies and watch movies and watch movies and catch certain things and appreciate certain things. Kurosawa is one of those people. Like if I watch Ran 5 times, it might become one of my favorite movies of all time. Like he has that element to him where you're going to be rewarded for doing your own homework with his stuff.
Yeah, certain filmmakers are definitely an acquired taste, and it takes a little bit more of an effort to really appreciate what they're bringing to the table. And I respect that. I like the grind. I like the journey. I like finding out new things about myself by visiting these filmmakers. And yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I don't, want to put down anyone else who's on a different cinematic journey than I am, but this is mine.
Yeah, this is mine, and I'm not fucking taking the foot off the gas anytime soon. So, so that's kind of what we got to. What's next for Kurosawa? What's your next? What do you have circled?
I'm really interested in Kagemusha.
Me too.
Yeah, I want to check that out. And Yojimbo has a sequel that I'd like to check out as well.
Yeah, Senjuro. Yeah. I feel like now we just have to. You know what I mean? Stray Dog. Stray Dog is one I need to see. That's an older one. And High and Low. High and Low is one that's got like super critically acclaimed. I feel like I just need to see it at some point. The good news is we can bring him on this show, in the future again. We can continue to use Kurosawa as a guy to kind of explore. So until then, I'll just kind of, kind of marinate in the movies I've seen by him, and then I'll go into another phase where I'm like, I need to watch, two or three more of his movies. And I can't wait for that day to come. But today we are going to focus on Rand for the rest of the episode. I'm wicked excited. We've held back on our thoughts here. We're going to give awards out to it. We are going to look at the 58th Academy Awards at the end of the episode. So I'm super excited. Man, this is just an epic movie about power, greed, just family dynamics. It's got a lot going on. For me, I don't know about you. I didn't really feel the 2 hour and 40-minute runtime. Like I was pretty entertained the whole way. I watched an hour and this might be because I watched an hour in one night, then I watched the rest the next night because I was like, I gotta go to bed. Like I know I was locked in. I stopped at. I always do this when I know I have to split a movie up. I'm like, I'm gonna stop at a point where the next day, all I'm gonna be thinking about is what's gonna happen next. So I stopped like during that first battle that is just so epic, and I was like, I'm gonna stop here. And so now the next day at work, I was like, fuck, I can't wait to get back to Rand, And when I came back, I was enamored, the rest of the way. So I really, really, really like this one. It's probably my third favorite of his movies.
That's awesome. And yes, the reason you didn't feel the runtime is because you split it in half. I watched this fucker all the way through.
And you felt it? Yeah.
I felt it. But that's just, you can have too much of a good thing. I think, if all my favorite movies were, 20 minutes short of 3 hours, I probably wouldn't watch them all that often.
Yeah, that's one of the things about, if some of your favorites are long, it's more special because you're going to go to them less, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I love Avengers Endgame, but I'm not watching it every day because it is 3 hours long.
Yeah, totally get it.
But this was delightful. This was an enjoyable, entertaining. I do want to say real quick, I am very glad they decided to color code the bad guys.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's the red guy. Oh, blue guy's here now. Like I didn't remember any names. But
that's I think smart. Yeah, like really smart.
Yeah, but yeah, you can tell that he was working with a budget, which was nice. I think I read that this was like the most expensive Japanese film ever made.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, it was a huge deal. It cost like $12 million to make this movie in the 80s.
And he goes all out. Like you feel the weight of the Great Lord's decision here, just all the blood that gets spilt because of what he decided to do here. And yeah, it always goes back to that. Just like, maybe you should have thought this through a little bit more. And yeah, I was impressed. I'm glad this is the one that we decided to do here.
Yeah, it's a big Oscar movie, four nominations is a good, nice little haul. So it felt like, okay, well, if we're going to do one, I've always wanted to see this. I've been waiting for an excuse to watch it. So this is perfect, to be able to talk to you about it. And yeah, I was pretty drawn in right away when that our first scene is some of the most gorgeous cinematography I've seen in an opening scene. And it is a dad delegating to his three sons, well, like what's about to happen. And you don't know that you're watching, like one of the, worst decisions of this guy's life. But he's like, hey, you, my oldest son, you're going to fucking take the first castle. You are the man. You're the top dog. You, second son, you're taking castle 2. You better listen to your older brother because that's what you need to do. And same for you. The third one's like, fuck you. I'm not doing that shit. And right from there, I was like, oh my God, like this is good. This is good stuff. Family drama, can bring it on. And I mean, I knew from just what I heard about it, there's gonna be some blood, there is blood, it is bright red. It is fucking Suspiria red, it's like in your face, really cool. It's not like any other, war / battle movie that I've seen in that way. The violence it's right in front of you. It's like really, really, really dark. But the story reminds me of, things that I've fallen in love with, Lord of the Rings and different, dramatic pieces where the decisions you make and the people that love you, they might turn on you based on those decisions. It's really, really cool. So I loved it. I can't wait to give this movie awards, and I can't wait to hear what stuck out to you.
Yeah, I love stories built on conditional love, where it's like,
Yeah,
your
yeah, good.
family until you wrong me.
Yes, yeah. Like I love when the dad finds out, like, oh yeah, by the way, your oldest son's like anybody who gets in his way, like including you, he's gonna kill. That's his new decree. Like,
Yeah, sign this contract. Tell everybody that I own your ass. And he's like, how dare you?
yeah, like I just gave you this power, you motherfucker.
There were
Yeah.
witnesses. We don't need to sign anything. And he's like, yeah, we do.
Oh man,
Right.
really good. Ran translates to chaos or turmoil. Like those are the words that it translates to in English. Makes sense, right? Chaos is the perfect word.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Akira, you know what Akira translates to?
What?
To live.
Of course.
Yep. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Uh,
You
I
happen
mean,
to know
that
what
just, yeah.
you happen to know what Yojimbo translates to?
I don't. I should have looked that one up.
Here.
I mean, obviously, Seven Samurai is pretty easy to.
Here, I'll look up what Yojimbo means. You keep going.
Throne of Blood is another one that I also have high on my list. I need to see that.
I have seen that one. That's Kurosawa.
Oh, you've seen. Okay, you've seen Throne of Blood, so that's one you've seen that I haven't. Okay. Yeah, Drunken Angel, Senshuro Shigata, like those are ones from the 40s that I like a lot. Yeah, fuck, this guy's just been doing it, or he did do it forever.
Yojimbo means bodyguard.
Perfect. Like we could have guessed that. I do love in that movie when he's just like toying with them, like, yeah, I'll be your fucking bodyguard, but I need the money now.
I get paid up front.
Yeah, I'll take 30 now. Yeah. Yeah, man, this is good stuff. So Ran, we got to do our awards for it. We have the Tarantino for best quote. We have the Ennio Morricone for best music moment. Awesome score. Jesus Christ, just epic. The Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for best performance. There's certainly someone who stuck out to me, but there is some competition here. There are some solid performances, and then the Roger Deakins Award for the best scene of the movie, which could go to a handful of places. So I'll let you start with your Tarantino.
Cool. So I don't usually go with an exchange. I like block quotes, but this exchange was too good to pass up. So
Okay.
This is between the Great Lord and his and Blue Sun.
Blue Sun.
It was easier for me to be like, okay, blue, red, yellow, got it. But
you think Akira Kurosawa was like, yeah, those Americans still understand it more if I give them the three basic colors.
Personally, I think it was an older gentleman being like, I can't remember names right now. All right, red, blue, yellow. Okay, fine. But it's during the exchange when the Great Lord's telling his sons, yellow's going to rule over you guys, so get used to it. And Saburo, blue, is like, you are a senile old fool. And the Great Lord goes, what madness have I spoken? Wherein lies my senility? And Saburo goes, I'll tell you. What kind of world do we live in? One barren of loyalty and feeling. And the Great Lord goes, I'm aware of that. And Saburo goes, so you should be. You spilled an ocean of blood. You showed no mercy, no pity. We too are children of this age, weaned on strife and chaos. We are your sons, yet you count on our fidelity. In my eyes, that makes you a fool, a senile old fool. Just telling him like, dude, this is the world you made. You think we're just going to roll over like this? You created us to lead this world, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good. That's the beginning of the movie, dude.
Like right there, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that bit. That's the Ichimonji. Ichimonji. Don't know how to say it. That's the family that's coming to these decisions, and it's such a fascinating scene. I love when he gives them the arrow, they break it, and he gives them 3 arrows, and they can't break them. And I was like, oh man, this is just.
And then what does the one guy do? He forces it, and he's like, see, pointless metaphor. Like this all kept making me think of The Godfather. Like
yes.
Corleone, like I never wanted this for you. Like this. There's no way in hell he wasn't no wait. Well, that's King Lear. So yeah, fuck. Okay. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, this came out in 85. And then I'm like, yeah, but Shakespeare came out in the 1300s.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when Shakespeare's been around for centuries. Yeah, everybody's influenced by Shakespeare. It's great. Definitely wearing its artistic influences on its sleeve ran the whole movie. You can feel it. And then of course after Kurosawa, I think you and I were talking about how he's a bridge. He's a guy who does not mind being like, I like this shit. I like art. I like poetry. I like stuff. I'm gonna put it in my movies. And then afterwards, people are like, I like Kurosawa. He becomes a part of the stuff. He becomes a part of that long lineage of people who are just always copied, and that's just fine with me.
Yeah, once you're part of art, people are going to pick and choose from you. You're going to influence people, hopefully, and that's the way art works. It's this constant swirling mass of talent, and we're always adding to it. We're always taking away from it, and I just hope we keep doing that.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I love that bit of dialogue for your Tarantino. There was a ton of stuff I liked. I loved that opening scene. I really like some of the stuff with Tango and Kiyoami, the two they bring a kind of a comedic tone to it, in the same way that in Hidden Fortress there's definitely kind of some things happening there that you got two kind of goofy characters that obviously influence Star Wars later on. So I really liked the scenes with them. Kiyoami at one point says something that like I want to like put on a t-shirt. I think it was just so badass. She says, some people can get along fine without God, but everyone seems to need a devil. It's like, oh, that's fucking sick.
That is, I heard a variation of that in a fucking comic book, in a Daredevil comic.
Oh,
perfect. It was something along the lines of like, if you prayed to God, like Daredevil's like telling Kingpin or something, like, if you prayed to God, then why did he send the devil? That's like,
yeah,
that's a badass, like, Bruce Willis about to shoot the bad guy line. That's great.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fucking sick. And I think I said she, I meant he. I don't know. There's not really the only women in this movie. They're not the best.
Medieval Japan, man. We're lucky they had lines.
Yeah, I do like. I'll bring up Lady Kaeda. Like, oh man, fucking shit. She's got some scenes. Good lord. Anyways, yeah, I love the different characters. I think Lord Hidatora, like has some sick dialogue, like absolutely devastating fucking dialogue. So I don't know. You can't really go wrong with the screenplay.
The actor who played him is still alive.
Okay, I looked that up. Tatsuya Nakalai. Yeah, you'd think Tatsuya would be fucking 80 when this movie came out. Born in, let's see, where is it? Born in 1932, so it's like 50 when this movie came out.
Great makeup job.
Incredible. It made me go, oh wow, like costume design, practical effects, makeup, all that stuff is just fucking on point in this movie.
Yeah, he just looks, I'm 100% convinced the look for Pai Mei from Kill Bill came from this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks like this, war-torn, battle-worn, family-worn dude who's just done, but life is not done with him.
Yeah, God, man. Some of the shots of him, just the eyes, I was just like, oh, it's gonna stick. It's gonna stick with me. Okay, how about the Ennio Morricone? How about best music moment? You got some choices here. It's a good score.
I do, and I went with the scene where I believe it's his daughter-in-law who he like slaughtered her whole family.
And yeah, Lady Kaeda, who's married to Taro.
Yes.
And then she sleeps with Jiro.
Yeah. She's like, I'm coming out on top. And everyone's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where like after he meets with Taro and she's like, they're talking in a field, the Great Lord and her, and he's like, why don't you hate me? Like, hate me. I ruined your life. I destroyed everything you had. Just hate me. And she's like, I don't. And the music that's playing is so like somber and reflective. It's like he wants to be hated for what he's done, but nobody has the balls to actively tell him he's a piece of shit. And he just needs that. He needs to know I did the wrong thing. And
Yeah,
I love that. I love that bit. It was great.
yeah, it's one of my favorite themes of the movie is watching him just going a downward spiral of reflecting on, oh my god, I've been a piece of shit. I've ruined so much and have had no conscience until now,
Yeah. It's all
until
fun and games till it happens to you.
yeah, until you hand it over to your sons and now they want you dead, yeah, it's such a interesting storyline in the movie, and probably my favorite is watching him walk around and just lose his mind. It just reminded me of a lot of male performances that I've liked since Rand came out. I like to think a lot of guys have watched that movie and been like, man, that guy did a good job. So yeah, love that. This score by Toru Takamitsu is just it's just lights out. When I got home from work earlier, I took a shower and I put the score on, and I got lost, man. I was like, oh, I've been in the shower for like fucking 25 minutes. I'm just standing here in the water. The hot water is just fucking pouring over me, and I'm listening to this. My favorite bit of score though is the opening credits. It's about 2 minutes long. Reminded me of some stuff from Rashomon, which kind of made my fucking hair stand up on the back of my neck, and I couldn't ignore it. The eeriness of it, the foreshadowing of that piece of score, where it's like this isn't gonna be fun. you're not you're not gonna have fun here. Nobody's gonna win. This is gonna be a complete downfall of humanity throughout this movie. And boy, were they right. My favorite thing about it though is, again, how aligned everyone was. I think our biggest complaint with Yojimbo gets completely it gets completely proven wrong in this movie, because the score is on the same page as what's going on, as what we're seeing from the cinematography and the costume production design, and the actors are, it's the same, everybody's on the same page, hitting on all cylinders, and that's kind of why I think this movie's like a straight up 9 out of 10 for me. It's just damn near perfect. So like those things matter a lot, as you watch more and more movies, you realize sometimes the performances of the screenplay can even take a back seat to this kind of stuff. The production of it, the music, the scale of it. So I just thought Ran on those categories should have won every Oscar. It was that kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to be consistent. You got to have a tone that matches the story you're trying to tell. I mean, imagine like, Schindler's List with like Beetlejuice's score. Everyone would be like, I want to feel sad here, but this is weirding me out. Like you need
that. Yeah. And I'm all for kind of doing the, oh hey, a bad thing's happening, let's play some kind of like fucking ice cream fucking 50s music, la 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 la, like something bad's happening. But that's not, that doesn't always work. I found that just simplicity and less is more. You just kind of go with what feels right, and with Ran, everything felt right. So yeah, I thought the score was so sick, and I do love when a movie has a score that we have to choose from. There's no fucking soundtrack here. There's no needle drop shit going on. This is an epic from centuries ago. So I love that part of it.
Yeah, yeah. From the get go, I almost went with the opening credits myself because I love a tone setter. I love a nice opening credits with a just great score that just tells you what you're in for. Yeah. And this was very much like we're about to watch a nation fall.
Yeah. Let's watch a film. Yeah.
This is going to be wild.
Yeah, it's much different than, the other day I watched Accepted just for fun. And you're like, this is about to be silly as shit. You got all kinds of wacky songs, needle drops in that movie. And they're both fine. You know, they both can work, right? But there's something about Ran where you're like, buckle up, you're about to watch a proper fucking movie, you know, and I love that feeling. I love when I'm kind of like on my own. I'm by myself and I'm like, this is what I fucking do, baby. You know, this is what I do. Like I like feed off of that.
And I do think that, you have to prepare yourself to watch certain movies. You have to enter a mindset like, I'm about to watch a comedy, I'm about to watch a horror movie, I'm about to watch a Japanese epic. And you got to kind of prepare yourself mentally for the journey you're about to go on. I do think that's the thing. And I've started to do that myself. And it's made, the transition easier. If I go from like, Tommy Boy to Ran, I'm going to need to think differently.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's one of my favorite things though, is you get to kind of live your different personalities in the blink of an eye. You get to literally do that on your own. You're like, I'm going to change from this to this. Like, you get to show yourself how many hats you have. It's really, really quite invigorating. I'll say. Moving on to the award that I'm really curious to hear what you got. The Philip Seymour Hoffman, best performance in the movie. Who do you got?
Performances are really good in this movie, but no one was taking this away from Tatsuya Nakadai as
Yes.
Lord Hidetora. I mean, holy shit! Is just putting in a clinic here.
Yeah. Like, come on. Like, how is he not up? How is he not nominated here?
From the start, when he's just sitting there while they're having lunch and he's just observing his, cabal here and just thinking like, I fucking hate all of you. But one of you has to carry on my legacy. Who's it going to be?
Yeah.
But he just slumps over, and then one of the guys goes and puts a tree over him. Like, that'll help me get some points.
God.
Yeah, it's great, and just the interactions he has with his sons, and then just learning, growing a conscience as he watches the carnage unfold around him because of his decision. And in the end, pretty much dying of heartbreak over, the last person he loved dying in his arms. Like, holy shit, man. Like, it's a journey this guy goes on. And it's, character growth in the best way. And he really sells it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get him in that category, at this ceremony, William Hurt took the win for Kiss of the Spider Woman. Harrison Ford was up for Witness. James Garner for Murphy's Romance. Mr. Jack Nicholson for Prizzi's Honor, and John Voight for Runaway Train. Get him in there. Get him in that group. That's the group he can compete with.
Oh yeah. There have been very few Asian actors up for acting awards, like very few.
Yeah.
There've been a lot of yellow face white actors up, which is fucked up. But yeah, this guy is outshining all of them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I like all these guys, right? I mean, Jack Nicholson's one of my favorite actors ever. I think Runaway Train is one of the most underrated '80s movies I've ever seen. But like, I'm taking, who I'm taking? I'm taking Tatsuya over John Voight. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those iconic performances that I'm never going to forget. The first time I saw it, never going to forget just how I could see the influence happening. I could see actors that I love now for the past 40 years watching this movie and being like, wow, that guy was on to something. Someone who has to play someone who's significantly older than who they are as a human being. It's just like, wow, really inspiring. I found him to be one of the easier Hoffman Awards I've given out in a while.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially when I found out that he's, not a 90-year-old, like, white-haired elderly gentleman, just doing a great job working with the makeup.
Yeah, just incredible stuff. So yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page there. Let's see where we're at with the Roger Deakins Award, best scene of the movie.
This was, I had written down a few things here. I had the initial exchange where he gives his son the castle and the pushback from that. I had that written down because I was blown away by we're 10 minutes into the movie and already it's like lights out. But I ultimately went with when Taro tricks his father and leads him into a trap and has his entire army slaughtered. And he's just sitting there in the temple, just kind of waiting. He's like, just, what have I done? How has it come to this? Everyone around him is dying horribly. There's that one guy who gets trampled by a horse. I don't know how they did that without actually trampling a guy.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, like Taro gets shot in the back. And we're just like,
dude,
what?
Yeah, shot. Like shot by a fucking rifle. You see a lot of like literal flaming arrows flying out of the air. And I was just like, oh my God, this movie is sick. There's just arrows, coming out of people's bodies and they're on horses. And then when you see, the like you hear the pow of the gunshot, you're like, there goes like the main character.
There's our bad guy. I half expected to see the Great Lord like at the window with a fucking sniper rifle. Like, gotcha, bitch.
No. Yeah.
It was Red Sun.
He's holding a fucking Colt 45. Just pop, pop. Yeah. I was there were times during this movie where I was smiling because I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy. It was like one of those, fuck. there's a lot going on the screen right now. That was a great scene. I kind of went through the same process where I wrote down I was like, oh my God, I just wrote down like family meeting at the beginning of the movie. And then I wrote down first battle. And then something happened where I was, oh, this is right up my alley. This is weird, fucked up, just tension to the max. And it's when Lady Kaida like manipulates Jiro, cuts his throat, and he's like, what the fuck? You're overreacting. And then she starts laughing like the Joker, and she's like, I was like, whoa, like where did this performance come from? And then she goes up to him and starts fucking licking the wounds and starts like making out with him. And I was like, I guess they're gonna fuck. This is insane. And all of it is her just trying to just weasel her way in, and she wants to take control because she's still upset about their dad destroying her family. And I was like, man, this is a good scene. And I love when she looks at him like, you have to kill the woman you're in love with. I can't imagine someone sleeping with you or even the thought of it, you have to kill her. And he's like, yes, I have to kill her. He's just been totally pussy whipped. Like after one go around with Lady Kaida, I was like, God, this is an insane scene. We need these kind of scenes in these epic stories because they make it to where I'm going to try to explain it. This might be a little long-winded, but we need these like sexual manipulative scenes in these kind of movies, these period pieces from years and years ago, because people have always been this way. This is one of the reasons I did really like Game of Thrones was people acted like fucking people, they're still like primal fucking nasty animals and they'll kind of just like eat, drink, sleep, fuck, like that's like what a lot of humans have done over time. And I like when that's implemented in whether it be fantasy or old, period pieces from a much further century. It's one of my biggest problems with Lord of the Rings. It's like, well, it's fucking Tolkien, right? He's not going to go there. So like, it's one of the things where I'm like, these people aren't acting like people, and I love that this scene was in Rand because I was like, that made it like so, humanizing, it made it like, I really believe the stakes right now. Like this woman getting involved, sleeping with one of the sons and being like, now my hat's into the ring, bitches. Now I'm competing with these brothers. Let's get it on. I was like, fuck. That's when I was already really into the movie, but after that I was like, buckle up. This is about to get nuts. And sure enough, it did.
Yeah, it's nice to have a moment of like, you fuckers have stepped on me long enough. It's time for me to step on you. And
I'll use what I have to use to fucking get there, like I know my power. I know what it is with this idiot. I'm gonna use it. I don't care about him, and he just fucking folds like a little. He's like, yeah, she slept with me, so I gotta do what she says. It's like, God, I've seen movies where that happens in modern times, where like the guy's just like, whatever has an affair and is like, yeah, well now this is shinier and better, so like I got to go with this thing, and they go back to like explain it to their wife, and they're like, hey. I was like, this is cool to see in a way different time, where it's not being explained through like an iPhone. Like I just thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah, it goes back to Kurosawa really demonstrating the vulnerability of people. In Jiro's case, it was, he is very insecure about everything, and she knew how to exploit that and manipulate her way around it. Taro had confidence, but his ass is dead.
Yeah, fantastic. Just brilliant stuff. Like, God, this movie kicks ass, man. There's there's scenes after that too where I was like, geez, I mean, the last battle is like, good God, this is epic,
Yeah.
And it pays off. So I don't know.
When the Great Lord's like hugging his son and being like, finally, somebody I can trust, and then he's immediately shot off his horse.
Yeah. Like, what? Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing, but he's like behind his son, like, oh, like hugging him like a bear. And then he gets shot and he's like, no, surely that wasn't that shot wasn't meant for my son. That bullet had his fucking name written on it.
And it breaks him. He's just like, no, like screaming, like, oh my
damn
God.
it.
Yeah. And then he's like, it's too much for him. His heart gives out.
Yeah, he literally dies from grief. Yeah.
And everyone's just like, the hell do we do now?
This movie is a train wreck. Just, oh God, yeah, man. It's just like I was like exhausted by the end of it, but also just like, holy shit, I watched something real good. I called my brother Jeremy because I was like, oh, this is right up his alley. Oh boy. He was at work, but I texted him anyway, and I was like, dude, go ahead and watch Ran. Like you need to see it. And he was like, I've owned it for like a couple years. Like I need to watch it. Like he's like, perhaps I'll do that this week. I'm really hoping he gets around to it because I like this has my brother's name written all over it. These epic, just kind of nasty stories that are like people still do this stuff. People still go. This could be made in 2023. You could modernize it to, fucking some car dealership guy who's got 3 sons, and he's like, all right, you're taking this, this lot, and you're taking this lot, and you're taking this lot, and they start fucking like murdering each other over like the Mercedes. And like it would probably be really good on in the right hands. So just timeless.
Yeah, if you ever need to, if you want to start your own work and you write something of yours, you can model it after Shakespeare. No one's going to stop you.
Not at all.
It's public domain. It's original building blocks of storytelling. You can trace almost every modern story back to Shakespeare. And yeah, I could see, I'd love to see this done over like, we saw it kind of done with the Mafia, with the Godfather. But yeah, it's a timeless tale of, hug your kids. Don't whip your kids.
Yeah. Be kind, be kind to your children and make sure they're ready for things when you're about to give them to them.
Somebody once told me, like, always be nice to your kids because they're the ones who choose your nursing home.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah,
this movie is a great example of that. Pretty much, like if you treat your kids like shit, they're gonna destroy everything you built.
Yeah, fuck your legacy. Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's fucking true, man. Yeah, God, what a great movie. I'm really, really glad we got to be like I just kind of randomly chose this. I was like, yeah, I think we need to do another Kurosawa. This happens, man. Every time we do a movie that neither of us have seen, we just get rewarded. Last time we did it with Bicycle Thieves, another foreign movie, we were both like, this is pretty damn good, and here we are with Ran. I was pretty certain we'd both respond to it, but it's clear that we both took a lot away and have a lot more Kurosawa to get to, which is very, very exciting. He's probably, there's still a lot of Hitchcock I want to see, right? He's just got this crazy filmography where it's like, okay, well, I can take my time and kind of slowly knock out those movies. Kurosawa kind of has that about him where I'm like, how exciting that I have this filmography to just, whenever I want, a lot of the stuff's on Criterion or HBO Max, I can always just kind of take my time and go back into his filmography and have my own journey with Akira. It's like really cool.
Yeah, that's the best result with all of these shows is finding a filmmaker you really respond to, and then opening the door to dozens of films that you might otherwise have ignored. It's been fantastic. I found that a lot on FILMGAZM with random horror directors, and definitely here with people like Kurosawa and definitely Hitchcock. Fellini, I didn't really respond to that much.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Yeah, what other I'm trying to think if there's any other filmmakers that we've both like kind of almost adopted as our own because of this show. I feel like it happens a lot with, specific films. Like we obviously always bring up Elmer Gantry as being like, holy shit, this was sick. I guess we could kind of look at John Huston.
Yeah.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre really, really got us to go, oh, okay, hold on. Like this guy's got stuff in his bag.
Absolutely. I'm going through our filmography now. Filmography.
the Oscar Sunday filmography.
For me, Spike Lee. I got to
I
got to see all of his work, and that was incredibly rewarding. Yeah, we've explored a lot of guys. I want to look at more of Hal Ashby's work.
Yeah, we were pretty impacted there.
Yeah. This is. Yeah, I'm never let down for the most part. Even if the movie's not great, I know the conversation's going to be great.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. I've been been quite excited every week to do this show, and that's the goal.
Truffaut, that's the big one.
Oh, Francois, yeah. Oh man, Francois, Day for Night. Oof, that's a movie. Well, we watched that 400 Blows, and we were like, yep, all right, that's about enough. If you made those two movies, all right, cool, you're good. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, God, man, that was fucking sick movie. Day for Night. I really liked that one. That's another one we both went into blind. Neither of us had seen it, and we ended up having a blast talking about Truffaut versus Godard, and just kind of like that French New Wave conversation. Yeah, man, I just eat this shit up. It's great. Well, let's look at some ceremony stuff because we both have seen a handful of 1985 Oscar movies. We did Back to the Future on like episode 20. We went to this ceremony, and so we both watched, I believe, the 5 screenplay nominees.
Yeah, original screenplay.
So yeah, we've been to this ceremony before. It's been a long time, over 100 episodes. So it's nice to be back. So we are familiar with a lot of these movies. This this is a big year for The Color Purple and Out of Africa. Not a huge fan of either of those, but there are some gems from this ceremony. So this will be fun to kind of look at. We have one win for costume design. So we can, look at that towards the end. But there's 3 other categories we can go through. Again, I'm looking at the foreign language and I'm like, why? Just don't. It's one of the most baffling things. There had to be a reason. Had to be.
Well, here's the thing, though. Do we want to take the win away from the official story?
No, that's the thing. Is like that Argentinian film is fucking sick, right? Yeah. And it was also up for screenplay. Love that movie. It's not so much that I want to take that away, but it's like, how was Rand not even up?
Yeah, I wonder if there's got to be some red tape or like somebody, he forgot to put the tape in the mail or something.
You're looking at the category now. Is there a Japanese movie up?
No, we got Argentina, Federal Republic of Germany, Hungary, France, and Yugoslavia.
What a time. Oh my God. Yeah. Pre 1989, before like a lot of things, like pre early 90s. Well, world was vastly different just 35 years ago.
Before the wall fell, it was, Europe was interesting.
Yeah. Yugoslavia is now like, a bunch of different countries. It's crazy. God, man, the world is fascinating. Fascinating indeed. Let's start with, let's do art direction. Art direction looks like the one that's listed at the bottom here for ran. Let's see, on the Oscar website, I believe they're fucking like, yeah, they have them like in alphabetical order on the Oscar website. Like, why? Fucking just the Academy always just giving me problems.
I always just use Wikipedia. I like their layout way better.
I do too. For some reason, recently Wikipedia like stopped working on my
Oh,
laptop.
no.
You
I've
know
got
what
them.
it's you know what it's done for me? It's forced me to like do more real research. uh, like if I'm reading about something, I'm not like, oh, just go to the fucking Wikipedia page and just get basic facts.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I've got them queued up here if you want them.
Well, I've got them once I realize they're fucking alphabetical. Fucking shit. Uh, best art direction. The winner is Out of Africa, beating Brazil. Jesus, that's my winner. The Color Purple, Ran, and Witness. This is a cool group.
I've got to see Out of Africa and The Color Purple. I have not seen those.
Those are the two. You haven't seen Color Purple? It's Mr. Spielberg.
I know it's one of the few Spielbergs I've yet to watch.
Interesting. Yeah. Obviously, you'll have to see both of those when we do a Best Picture showdown because they were the two top dogs at that ceremony. Both collected a bunch of nominations and a bunch of awards. So yeah, I guess you can save that for doing the showdown. It'll be cool to watch both those movies for the first time in the same week.
Yeah, I bought Out of Africa. Like I'm ready there. So yeah, I'll just
My mom is just obsessed with that movie. So I saw it when I was kind of young. Didn't really respond to it when I was a kid, but need to see it again because I do like the cast members. So
I think it's the only like Rotten Tomato Best Picture winner.
Oh, that's an interesting project.
Yeah, it's a negative score movie.
Interesting. Over time, people are just like, nah. No thanks. What about Driving Miss Daisy? That one's still positive?
Amazingly, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I too give the win to Brazil. I mean, in terms of art direction, that movie is remarkably original and just creating this, fascist British future that looks really weird.
I can't handle how cool Brazil is. It's just one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Brilliant stuff. I believe you gave me or bought me your the Criterion edition of that movie. I'm almost positive.
Probably. I tend to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really buy movies anymore because I'm like, well, Connor just gives me like 5 at a time. So fuck it. And it's always like a grab bag of just, all right, cool shit,
Well, when random. I end up like replacing a lot of my stuff with like, Blu-rays of it or 4Ks of it, then I'm like, do I want them to just rot on a warehouse shelf at Half Price Books is like surplus warehouse, or do I want somebody to get something out of them? So
yeah, and I'm one of the people that just doesn't care too much about the quality of it as long as I have the physical copy to just have. And if I do need to break it out, I'll break it out because I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of my DVDs and Blu-rays and whatnot. I so many streaming services.
I had that problem. I've since decided to do something about it, which is why I've been watching all of my owned movies. Yes. I'm like, if I'm going to own them, I got to have something to say.
I love that. I do most of the time. I don't buy movies I haven't seen. Most of the time, I'm like, unless I know I'm going to use it for this show, like this podcast.
For me, it's like if it's cheap, why not? I'll give it a shot. What's $2 to be?
Yeah,
so, I've done that a lot. I did it a lot today.
It's adding up, actually.
Yeah,
it's so great. Best cinematography. Love this category. The winner is Out of Africa, beating The Color Purple, Murphy's Romance, Ran, and Witness. Everybody get the fuck out. Ran is taking this by a landslide.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Haven't seen Murphy's Romance either. Doesn't look like a groundbreaking film, but you know what?
That doesn't look like one that Connor and Austin are going to do on the show.
Yeah, I love Sally Field. I like James Garner.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll watch it when I need to.
Yeah, Brazil should be here too.
Yeah,
but yeah, Ran. This film looks incredible.
Yeah, it's fucking breathtaking, this movie, you know? It's not like on Boogie Nights, there's that one bit where uh Mark Wahlberg, Brock Landers is in that restaurant sitting at a bar and he's like got a toothpick and the girl comes in and is like, I heard the food's good here. He's like, good? It's not good. It's fucking excellent. It's probably the best food in all of Los Angeles. it's, it's how I feel about what you just said. Good? It's not good. It's fucking excellent. It's one of my favorite quotes from the movie. It's just like, God, that's just how pornos, that's how the dialogue is. It's just
I can totally see you being in like the Academy Museum or like somewhere where somebody's talking about Kurosawa and they're like, yeah, he's pretty good. And you just snap back around and are like, good. Well, let me tell you some things.
yeah. It's probably the best actor in all of Japan, or best director in all of Japan. Yeah. I love that scene. Brock Landers, absolute legend. Let's see, best director, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a category. Sidney Pollack got the win for Out of Africa, beating Hector Babenko for Kiss of the Spider Woman, John Huston, Prizzi's Honor, Akira Kurosawa for Ran, and Peter Weir, Legend, for Witness.
That's a hell of a group.
Yeah, it's a kind of random, but still heavy hitters.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I hate doing this, but I have to. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't seen Kiss of the Spider Woman or Prizzi's Honor.
I haven't seen. I've seen Kiss of the Spider Woman, but I don't really count it because I don't like to count movies I've seen like years and years ago, and I don't really remember much of what happens.
Yeah.
I don't that like really. I try to keep it like the past like 8 or 9 years. Like in my like adult life, do I remember actually sitting down and watching this movie? So a lot of the time, I'm like, yeah, sure, I've like laid my eyes on it, but do I really know how I feel about it? No.
Yeah, that's how I kind of measure mine in like pre-filmgasm and post-filmgasm. Like as of 2014,
That's
kind of
perfect.
Yeah, that's my marker.
That's where I'm at because that's when movies changed for me in my own life was 2014. We've talked about this before. It just so happens that even though I didn't know you in 2014, you and Caleb were going through the same thing, and so you did a little thing, building a website to share your thoughts on movies. And at that time, I was like, I love this stuff. At age 19 that year changed my life. So really, I'm also post 2014. If I haven't seen it since then, or after then, if it was before then, it doesn't really count.
I like to think that while Caleb and I were building that website and deciding like anything goes, open the floodgates, let's talk about whatever we want, you felt a disturbance in the force and weirdly had the same thoughts of like, yeah, you know what? I don't know why, but I should do this.
Oh, for sure. That definitely happened. I believe in that, I don't know if God's real or anything, but I do think there are like waves. There are waves of energy that go throughout. And whether or not you and I are supposed to meet each other, like I don't know about all that, but it does make sense to me that we did.
I think John Huston, Akira Kurosawa, and Sidney Pollack were up there and we're like, let's arrange something. These kids need to meet each other.
No, that's great. Yeah. And in 2014, Damien Chazelle, Wes Anderson, David Fincher, and these guys were like, Alejandro Inarritu were like, yeah, these guys need to meet. Christopher Nolan was like, well, hey, what about me? I'm really the one that changed these two guys' life. Come on.
Oh, yeah, it's hilarious when I think about like at the time in 2014, Caleb was such a Nolan fan, and now he fucking despises him.
Yeah. I think I'm in the middle of you and him. I don't despise him, but I don't really like love him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you love him, but I know you respect him, like his work.
I like his work. I think him as a human being, he has made some questionable decisions in terms of, how much he thinks people value him. He thinks he's God's gift to film and is like, everyone should be goddamn thankful to look at my work. And I'm like, buddy, slow the fuck down. Like, as far as like great directors working today, you ain't scraping the top 10. So sit down.
Okay. So maybe you're closer to me than I thought.
I like his work, but you know what? I would like him to shut the fuck up for a while.
Yeah, I just can't stand the holier than thou
Yeah. Like,
aspect. Not only of him, but you
yeah.
can see it. You can see it in his movies. You're like, okay, dude, come off it. Like, we get it. We fucking get it.
But with that, I fully intend to see Oppenheimer as like I want to see that.
That's the most anticipated movie I like for me since like Interstellar.
Yeah, nobody really liked Tenet, and that kind of set him off.
Yeah, nobody really liked Tenet, including myself. That was pretty bad. I thought Dunkirk was pretty cool. Like, I really enjoyed some aspects of it. I was a little let down by others, but I did think it was like a unique film. But I'm like way more like pre Batman is the stuff I like.
Yeah. Apart from Batman, The Prestige wins, but
Prestige is not pre Batman, but yeah, it's like right after Begins, 2006. So like that's
mid that.
yeah, I see it as a pre Batman Nolan movie. The way he was like operating as a film, I think The Prestige is his best movie. So yeah, and Memento I think is sick. So yeah, I like that stuff better.
Yeah, but yeah, that makes me laugh. Director for me, I would give this to Kurosawa. It would be a bit of a. Would you consider it a career Oscar, or is this the film he should win for?
Such a good. I love that. It would definitely look like a career. It looks like a career nomination is what it looks like already. But if it was a win, obviously, the gold means a lot more than just your name being on a ballot. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like we've talked about this with Al Pacino winning for a movie that Scent of a Woman, that yeah, it's not his best work, but like if you just break down the nominees from the year, I would vote for Denzel for Malcolm X, but I get it. I get it. I thought Al Pacino is really good in that movie. Do I like his 70s stuff better? Of course I do, because I'm fucking human. But if you just look at these five, like Kurosawa, yeah, like Kurosawa knocked it out of the park. If it was a different year or he's going against different competition, maybe he loses. Maybe he's not even nominated. I try to look at it like what happened that year. It's very difficult because there is always the career things in the way. There's been huge actors and directors that, like Jeff Bridges winning for Crazy Hearts. Like, yeah, but like it was a pretty good performance. A lot of people were like, yeah, but he's been nominated for about 40 years straight now and has never won. And so I don't know. I've always been torn on that discussion because I get it. It's like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? You have to always look at the competition within. You look at Pacino, like, yeah, he went against some badass motherfuckers in the 70s, like he's dealing with the likes of, Jack Lemmon and Jack Nicholson and guys who are just like lights out, It's hard. It's hard to win.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll never for the life of me understand how Art Carney beat those guys until I watch Harry and Tonto.
But I don't even want to watch it because it's like, well, it better blow my fucking socks off or I'm going to be angry. I don't like being angry.
Yeah. You beat Michael Corleone and Jake Gittes and Lenny Bruce.
Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Come again?
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, I gotta check out Out of Africa, Kiss of the Spider Woman, Pritzi's Honor before I can really make a informed total decision here. But from what I have seen, Kurosawa gets it.
Yeah, I think we, through the showdowns, is where we do get to make those calls. Like, we get to make those informed decisions, not based on what we think from the year, because of course we put motherfucking Robert Zemeckis in there, baby, but within the category, what was nominated, that's part of the show. That's part of what we do. We do take what they give us. That's the context. And when we do the showdowns, by default, when you watch a bunch of Best Picture nominees, you're also going to watch a bunch of other nominees from different categories. And then we can both be like, hey, we've watched these movies over the past couple of weeks. We have a good idea of what we think about them. Let's talk about all the categories. So that's what those episodes are for, is to really unleash all the homework that we do on those ceremonies. So yeah, I hear you on that. I hear you on, seeing those other movies. And when we do, I'm sure Kurosawa will still be very much in the conversation.
Yeah, but if Zemeckis was there, I have loyalties.
He's like your family. Yeah, like that's my dad. Zemeckis is your director father. Yeah. So I mean, you can't really take that away. So I get it. I get it. And I do think Back to the Future should have been up for a shit ton of stuff. So that's a whole nother conversation. Runaway Train. I'd nominate for a million things. Also written by Akira Kurosawa. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, that is fucking wild.
Let's see. Last one, costume design. This is the win for Ran. I think her name is Emi Wada. She got the win for costume design, rightfully so. This is a good win. The other nominees are Aggie Gerard Rogers for The Color Purple. Interesting name there, Aggie. The Albert Wolski for The Journey of Natty Gann. Milena Canonero for Out of Africa, and Donfeld for Pritzi's Honor. Just Donfeld.
Yeah, his name's Donald Lee Feld, but he goes by Donfeld.
So sick. I wish I had a name like that where I could just mash it all together.
Of course he's, the fashion guy would be the one to do that. Yeah, I haven't seen these films. I got to give it to Ran.
Yeah. Journey of Natty Gann. Not sure what is that.
It's a Disney movie,
okay.
Starring John Cusack, Lainie Kazan, and Ray Weiss. It's about a tomboy during the Great Depression. Yeah, I don't know. This sounds very live action Disney dull.
You slightly had me at Ray Weiss for like a second, and then I was like, yeah, nah, Disney live action, probably gonna be corny as hell. Nah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I get it. Costume design again, Back to the Future or Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil and Back to the Future, some pretty good movies. Yeah, pretty decent. We do both love The Official Story. That's one we both liked a lot. We did the screenplay. What other ones did we watch from that? Let's see. What's the fucking? I'm trying to remember it without actually looking at it. The fucking Woody Allen movie. Purple Rose of Cairo.
There you go.
We kind of like that, right? That was pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. With Woody Allen, I always got to be like what variation of neurotic weirdo in New York is this going to be? But that was different.
Yeah. So that category is Witness winning, Back to the Future, Brazil, The Official Story, and Purple Rose of Cairo. Yeah, we watched all those movies when we did Back to the Future. These other films, Prince's Honor, Kiss the Spider Woman, Color Purple, and Out of Africa, just show up over and over at this ceremony.
Yeah, they do, and I like the variety of. That's a very solid, cool bunch for best screenplay, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, it is a very, very unique screenplay category. I always love that. It's one of our favorite categories for a reason, because you do get different kinds of stories. Sometimes, especially in more modern times, like The Incredibles was up for screenplay. Like that's really cool that a category kind of shines a light on different kinds of stuff. So I've always loved the adapted and original. I've always loved both.
Yeah, exactly. It's the foundation of any film is words on a page.
Yeah, is someone come up with an idea or stealing an idea.
That happens quite a lot.
Yes, and I'm okay with it if you do it the right way. Yeah, good stuff. Ran 4 nominations overall. It has its hat in the ring, but not quite up to par with these other heavy hitters. So I am excited to one day do a showdown with 1985 and be able to talk about those movies and talk about all the categories at length. And we'll be able to bring Brian back in the conversation with that and Back to the Future. So that'll be really, really unique. This has been a blast. Super excited to keep moving forward in 2023, doing fun, fantastic movies. We got Oscar nominations later this month. We got the Oscars in March 12th. So we'll be doing fun stuff for both of those, as we get closer and closer. And I know you and I are going to try to watch this. We made a pact on sneak preview last year. We were like, we're going to watch. You remember this?
Vaguely, continue.
We were like, let's watch as much if we can, all of them, every movie that's nominated, if we can, if it's accessible, right? Like some of the shorts and foreign stuff is hard to get to. But we were like, let's watch as many of them as we can pre March 12th. And I think I think we can handle, if we get on the same page and we like, hey, we help each other out on where to find stuff. I think it's possible that we knock out, 80 to 90% of stuff that's up.
Damn, yeah. You know what? I think we can. At this point, I think we've both already made a significant dent, considering what we think is going to be
Correct.
up. I think we can make that happen.
I definitely think we can make it happen. The work that we're going to have to do is finding the foreign films. There is a theater here in San Antonio, the Santikos Embassy, that does show the short films back to back to back. So I'm hoping you and I can find a day to do that together and just knock it out that way. And then I'll have some animated movies to watch for sure, because I don't have I haven't watched the new Pinocchio yet, the Del Toro one. So I do have work to do, of course. We both do, but it's doable.
Prediction. I think this is going to be one of the rare years where Disney does not take that Oscar.
Yeah, because what would it be?
I don't see Turning Red, Lightyear, Strange World, any of those being Oscar worthy. Pinocchio is kind of the only one that I see that might take this.
I think it's for sure. Everything I've read and listened to, people are like, it's like 100% Del Toro's to lose.
It's not bad. I saw it. It wasn't bad. A little overly long. Characters are kind of insufferable, but unique take on Pinocchio. And he sings a poop song to Benito Mussolini. Didn't think I'd see that.
Okay, fair enough. I you know me. I love Del Toro. I'm torn on some of his movies, but I do love the guy. I love his ambition. I love what he stands for. I absolutely love the Mexican trio that has kind of risen. Alfonso Cuarón, Alejandro Iñárritu, and Del Toro. Those guys are all fucking giants when it comes to the film industry. So I do have a lot of respect for those guys. They all have their qualities I like, and Del Toro is like the most creative and the most like out there and wacky. So yeah. I do want to see it. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to. We got basically 2 months to just knock out as much 2022 stuff as we can. Like you said, we've got a head start this year, especially myself. Last year I was way behind because I didn't care. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll get to them when they come out. I'll watch the Best Picture nominees when they come out, and I had seen like 3 or 4 of them, like Licorice Pizza, because that's just my jam. But a lot of those I crunched in, like it was like anxiety ridden, like what I was trying to do the week before the Oscars. So now I feel like I've got a leg up. There's supposed to be 10 nominees for Best Picture. I think I've already watched 7 of the 10 that are going to be up from what I've read. The Vegas odds and all that stuff. So I'm always looking at those things just because it's interesting. It's funny that there's Vegas odds for Oscar nominations. There's like, Babylon has this so and so chance to be up for Best Picture. I love that. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, there's Vegas odds for literally everything.
Everything. Yeah, everything. It's kind of disgusting, but also awesome. Anyways, this week on the show, we got a really wide variety of movies that we're going to be tackling on FILMGAZM. We're going back to Nightmare on Elm Street this time. It's the sequel, the second one, Freddy's Revenge. So that'll be fun. I'm guessing Josh.
Yeah, that's going to be me and Josh. We're going to look into this film. Was eviscerated when it came out. Like, people hated it, but it's since been reclaimed due to a documentary that came out called Scream Queen, which talks about the homosexual identity crisis that's within Freddy's Revenge. That was very unique to the time. So we're going to talk about kind of this reevaluation of Freddy's Revenge that's happened in the last couple of years.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. That's a good reason to do a podcast. I kind of like that one. I'm not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about Nightmare on Elm Street to begin with. I like the first one. I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining. I think it's a good time. I'm just not as jazzed about it as I am about other 70s and 80s, horror like kind of staples. That's just me. That's just who I am. But I get it. I'm not gonna sit here and ridicule people who love Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, a lot of big Freddy Krueger fans out there. So it is a good time. What's not a good time is this movie called Failure to Launch. It's Beyond the Bad, taking it to a dangerous place. I tell you what, you guys are gonna tear that movie to shreds. I've seen it. It's bad.
Yeah, Caleb declared that we are finally dipping our toes into the vast algae-filled pool that is rom-coms. So this is our kind of first foray into that, and judging from our potentials list, far from our last. And I'm not looking forward to those because they're all kind of the same bullshit. But this is, pre-reconnaissance Matthew. So let's do it.
You know what's great about that algae-filled pool of movies is they always have actors that you're like, what are you doing? Like without fail, no matter what happens, you can always know that you're going to be able to have a conversation about some star who has the potential to do really cool stuff, like a Matthew McConaughey, and you're like, what exactly was that? You just really needed the money, didn't you? Like you needed a paycheck in 2006, so I get it. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. This have you like looked at this movie like at all? Like, do you know anything about it?
I know it's on Paramount Plus, and I know it's about like a 30-something-year-old who like lives with his parents, and his parents are like, get the hell out. And he's like, but I haven't done nothing. And so they hire Sarah Jessica Parker as like a person who like gets adults out of houses. That's not a job. And has her like, I'm assuming they fall in love.
Shocking, right?
He may lack ambition, but he still looks like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna read you the cast list, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" But this is why I would have so much fun on Beyond the Bad. Just the little IMDb mini summary is: a 30-something is still living with his parents until they hire an interventionist to help him graduate out of the house. ... That's when the fun begins.
Oh my god!
and the cast. Of course, you got Matthew McConaughey, Sarah Jessica Parker. How about Kathy Bates?
Tracks.
How about Zooey Deschanel? How about Bradley Cooper? Motherfucking Cooper. How about Rob Corddry? Patton Oswalt? Like, what are all these people doing?
Are those his like pothead buddies who are like, dude, you're perfect. You don't got to move out of mom's basement. I bet.
Dude, you're shredded. It's fine. Oh man, yeah. I've seen that movie, and it's been a long time, but I remember just being like, "Whoa!" I just wasted an hour and a half of my life.
I love how in 2006, a 30-year-old man living with his parents was considered failure, and now it's just what we got to do because none of us can afford houses.
It's very, very, very normal. Yeah, now it's just like this good-looking guy, Matthew McConaughey. He's got a nice tan and he's got curly hair. He's living at home. What is this? Oh God, yeah. Just no, just hard pass. But gonna make a great episode. I'm telling you, man. I can't wait. I've been listening to Beyond the Bad more and more, especially when it's a movie that I have seen. Like y'all's waiting episode was fucking money, and I know y'all actually kind of like that one a little bit, but it is fun to listen to people have the exact same thoughts I did when I first saw it, Yeah. Last but not least, next week on Oscar Sunday, we are tackling a sequel, something we haven't done that often on this show, but it's time. It's a birthday pick for Connor. Back to the Future, Part 2, 1989. Super stoked. I'm sure you are as well.
Of course. I've been waiting for an opportunity, and I came up with, I texted you this when I was in London after I watched the Back to the Future musical, and I'm like, dude, for my birthday, we're doing Part 2.
Yeah, that's when it hit you.
Yeah, I was immediately like, I want to live in Hill Valley if it ever is possible. I'm going through that portal, and you're never going to see me again.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. It's gonna be a great time. we're just gonna dive into that movie. We're gonna dive into your admiration for it. I'm gonna rewatch probably all three of them through the week just because I haven't seen Back to the Future Part One since we did it on the show. So
I watched it like 2 months ago.
yeah, you've probably seen it because that was episode 20. That's 100 episodes ago. That's 2 years ago. You've probably seen it 10 times since then.
I kept my journal of everything I watched in 2022, about 650 odd films, and 6 of them were Back to the Future.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
No regrets. It's my all-time favorite movie. It's comfort food. I'll put it on for just whatever the hell. And yeah, 2 and 3 are equal footing for me. I love them all.
Yeah, there you go. So, unfortunately, the movie is not on a streaming service right now, but it is Back to the Future Part 2. Chances are you can find it. You should probably have a buddy who has it. Pop it in the old fucking Blu-ray player and have some fun. We're super stoked for that episode. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be fun for me to go back down that road. Always good to watch those movies, especially since becoming your friend, because I know I'm going to your favorite movie of all time. So it's pretty cool. Keep following us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow Connor on Letterboxd, Connor95, Jesus H. He's got a shit ton of reviews up there now, over 2,000. All of his stuff that was on the website is now a lot easier to navigate. It is just right there on his Letterboxd. Tons of content on Connor's page. It's become an addiction of his, and here we are. That's where his reviews are going to start going. So FILMGAZM.com still going to be a hub for some of the stuff we do. We're still going to put out YouTube stuff like trailers and whatnot. Well, you can listen to the podcast through there, through our homepage, but the reviews that Connor churns out nonstop are going to be going to Letterboxd.
And if you follow me on Letterboxd through my friend list, you can find Austin, Caleb, Josh, Colton, and Adam. All of us have Letterboxd. Yeah,
it's pretty crucial to my movie life.
Yeah, same. It's I can't imagine. It's what I've always wanted to do, cataloging all of it, and now I can.
Yeah, and I remember my brother was like, "You don't have Letterboxd?" It was like one of those, and I was like, well, "What's that?" And he was like, "Oh dear God, I shouldn't have told you." Like he knew this is literally tailor made for you, and it's been around for years. Like where have you been? I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like I just found a drug, and it's not good. I've only had it for a little over 2 years now, and yeah, it's just completely changed the way I operate and the way I track things, and the way I interact with people I don't know about movies. I have people I follow on there that they become some of my favorite writers, some of my favorite critics, and they're just people like us. That's great. I think it's cool. It can get toxic at times, and I hate those fuckers who go on there and just try to just destroy other people about their movie takes. It's like, all right, go, fucking get on Facebook, bitch. We don't need you over here. So, of course, anything that's good has to be taken down just a little bit by people, but that's okay. We can still have fun. So, anyways, all of Connor's reviews are going to be on there moving forward. That's where you need to be going. There is a free version of Letterboxd if you don't have it. There's the Pro. It's like $40 a year, and then there's the Patron, which is like, I don't know, $100 a year. They all have like very good perks if you want to sign up for those. But it's up to you. It's up to you. How much do you really want to, take up your life looking at movie stuff on your phone? it's your call. But we love it. Caleb loves it. Josh loves it. My brother Adam is obsessed with it as well. My brother Jeremy is obsessed with it as well. So pretty much anybody who's showed up on this podcast has that shit, and they really like it.
Yeah, on pretty much every podcast we've done, if you've been here, you have it. With a few exceptions, but I'm working on
that. Yeah. I have friends who I'm like, you just got to get it. You just got to get it. You don't even need to be a freak. You just need to get it. You need to get it so you can see what other people say about things. It does matter to like be a part of that, that community aspect of it. Especially if you don't have a lot of friends, like real life friends who watch movies. It's nice to be like, oh, what what is this guy who I respect his thoughts about these movies? What does he think about this? You know, it's got value. It's got value. So yeah, have a blast with it. But guys, keep watching movies. Fucking tear up 2023. We encourage everybody to just fucking stay strong. This is gonna be a good year if you stay positive. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday back at Nightmare on Elm Street.